Hey guys, Melrae here. So today I'm going to be doing a totally different type of video for my channel. I have done a story time in the past, just one, but today I thought I would do another one. So, and if you're new to my channel, I'm sorry about the echo. I live in Germany and our house is made out of brick. So there's awful acoustics in here. So I apologize for that. But subscribe anyways, hey? So I'm sorry about my Justin Bieber t-shirt. Well, not really. It's kind of too late to say sorry, hey? Oh. So it probably would have been better to do this video around Halloween, but I'm doing it now instead. So that's fine. So this is all about the time that I had a poltergeist. Yes, I was haunted by an actual poltergeist. This is not clickbait. This is real life. This was the scariest few months ever. And I'm a totally spiritual person. I don't necessarily believe in one entity. I believe that there is something out there. I believe there's life after death. I believe in reincarnation. I believe in anything that's not explained. I think that there's a chance for. So I'm very open to lots of different things. And I think that is what brought this into my home, is that it knew that I was an easy target, being that I would be scared easily, that I would automatically think that it was a poltergeist, and that I wouldn't just be like, oh, there's an explanation for it. I think that I put my energy out into the universe as being an easy target, and I think that is what created this problem, if you will. So that was a long intro. Let's get into the actual haunting. I was living in Zagreb, Croatia at the time. My husband is a professional hockey player, and he was in the KHL, which is the Russian Hockey League. So him, myself, and my daughter and our dog, we moved to Zagreb, Croatia. And when we got there, it was kind of a dumpy apartment. Well, it was really dumpy. And I just never really felt comfortable there. I always felt there was a weird energy around. I didn't like to be alone there, and that was not good because my husband, being in the Russian Hockey League, was gone for weeks at a time with just me, my daughter, and my dog, and a huge language barrier. So I'm actually really nervous to tell this story because I feel like I'm bringing the energy back into my life, but I'm going to tell it anyway. So it all started, I want to say, around September 2014. Yeah. And my husband was gone for the night. I don't know where he was. He wasn't on a long road trip, but he just wasn't home. It could have been the end of a road trip. I'm not sure, but he wasn't home. So in our apartment, I always kept the stroller right next to the front door. When I came in the day, I would just kind of put it in, not nicely or neatly. I just kind of threw it to the side. And, you know, my bag would be in the bottom, or there'd be some toys or some clothes or what have you. And so one night, it was around 3 o'clock in the morning, and I heard a car go off, which is my daughter's little like VTech toy. It would sing, "Driving in my convertible," and I heard this at like 2 or 3 in the morning, and I was like set up, like so scared, because you had to actually like hit a button for this toy to go off. It doesn't just, you know, turn on by itself. And it was just me and my daughter and my dog. My dog was laying next to me, and my daughter she's 1, she's in her bed. So I woke up, I couldn't go back to sleep, and then eventually I forgot about it. This is in September. So then I think it was like 2 months later, again, my husband wasn't home. How convenient that all this stuff happened when my husband wasn't home. So in October, I went to London, and my daughter broke her leg there. And yeah, I know. How does a 1-year-old break her leg? Ask Heidi. Just joking, Heidi. I love you. It wasn't your fault. My friend was holding her, and she kind of just slipped and she hurt her leg. Sorry. Heidi's really sensitive to that whole situation. So anyway, so my daughter broke her leg in London, and to cheer her up, my friend gave her a Justin Bieber toothbrush, and now I'm creeped out because I'm wearing the Justin Bieber t-shirt, and this story has a large part about Justin Bieber, and I'm not like this big Justin Bieber like diehard fan or anything, so now I'm like, oh god, why, like, energy, ah! So my friend gave my daughter this Justin Bieber toothbrush that when you pushed it, it's saying baby, and my daughter was obsessed with it. She thought it was the coolest thing ever. She loves brushing her teeth. So she just loved the toothbrush. She would play it on repeat all the time. And she was in love with this thing for weeks. Eventually she lost it, and we didn't think anything of it, and we looked for another Justin Bieber toothbrush, couldn't find one, the end. So then a month goes by. I think this is in end of November. My husband's on the road again. 3:15 in the morning. I know this because I looked at my phone to check what time it was after this happened. So 3:15 in the morning, I wake up to baby, 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 oh, and I'm like, what? This is going on repeat. So the way the toothbrush works is you press down on it and it will sing. And it will sing just once until you press it again. So I heard this, freaked out. It was in my room. I didn't know where it was coming from. I looked all in the closet. I looked under the bed. And I could hear it coming from the bed. And I looked under my pillow. A toothbrush that we had lost was under my pillow. I did not put that there. It was going, baby, 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 oh, baby, 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 oh, baby, 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 oh, over and over and over. And I picked it up and I tried to turn it off, and it would not turn off. And I eventually had to break the toothbrush in half to get it to stop. And then I freaking threw it out the window, because where I lived, you could litter and no one would care. So at this point, I'm terrified, but I'm completely half asleep, even though I had to get up and break a freaking toothbrush. I fell back asleep. I don't know how. And then right as I fell asleep, I wake up to barking, mad, crazy barking and growling. And it is my dog. He is an English bulldog. He is not vicious at all. He doesn't really bark. He was sitting at the end of my bed and barking and growling and freaking out at the wall. And there was no sound that set him off. He was asleep through the whole toothbrush situation, dead asleep. Didn't care when I turned the light on to break the toothbrush and turn the toothbrush off. He literally was asleep the whole time. And then once I fell asleep and it was silent, he started losing his shit. So that's what really creeped me out, because I was like, the toothbrush situation is one thing. There could be an explanation, but why the hell didn't my dog wake up for that? And then he woke up in pure silence and is literally losing his shit at the wall, and I could not get him to stop. And there's actually a scene in the original Poltergeist movie where something similar happens with their dog. So I don't want you to think that I'm stealing from that movie and this isn't real, but that is what happened. So I finally got him to shut the fuck up, and I went back to sleep. And a couple days later, I saw my friends and I was telling them about what happened. And they told me a nice little tidbit that there was a murder in the house or the apartment in the storage garage the year or two before. It would have been awesome if the team didn't put us in a apartment building where there was a murder before. Could you put us in a safe apartment? That'd be great. And we were so far from everybody else, 15-minute drive at least from everybody else in the team. Everyone with kids lived up on the hill, which was a beautiful community, beautiful apartments. And then they put us in freaking Mexico City, and it was awful. So, and to make things even creepier, it was a priest that killed this woman. So apparently he was being stalked by her or something and stabbed her in the parking garage. I never went in that parking garage. Ever. Not once. Thank God. So that creeped me the F out. So the reason I've mentioned the timestamps is, I don't know if you're familiar with paranormal activity, but the hours of 3 a.m. to 4 a.m. are considered the witching hour, which means that the spirit world and the human world are at their closest point together, and the chances of something paranormal happening are a lot higher between those hours. So both incidents happened around that time, and the toothbrush incident happened right then. So that was scary. So there's a couple more incidents that happened. There's one more like legit incident. So again, my husband was on the road. This was in January, and we never had the heat on in our apartment. It was a very warm apartment, and I always wore like heavy sweaters and stuff, so I never wanted the heat on. So again, around at just after 3 in the morning, I was in the biggest pile of sweat in bed, and I was just drenched. So I got up and went out into the living room because the heat was, our bedroom was at the very, very end, and you had to walk down a hall, and then there was my daughter's room, the bathroom and stuff, and then outside the hall was the living room and kitchen. And I could feel that the heat wasn't coming from inside my room because I had a heater right next to the bed. It was coming from out in the living room. So I got up and I walked out to the living room, and when you walk out from our bedroom through the hall, you first pass by the kitchen and then dining room table, and then you go into the living room. It's open concept, and that's where the heater was. And between those two areas, right next to the dining room table, my daughter had an IKEA tent, and it was filled with stuffed animals and stuff. And she had one of these Fisher-Price monkeys that had the hands, and it had like a little spot for an iPhone. So you could press the buttons and it would sing. So I was walking in the dark just after 3 a.m. to the heat register, which was in the actual TV living room part. So as I'm walking past the kitchen, right as I come to the tent, all of a sudden, ha hoo hee, 1, 2, 3, the freaking monkey starts singing. And it wasn't like I was close to it, like where my foot could have hit the ground and vibrated the ground, which suddenly put enough pressure to push in a monkey's paw to sing, especially since I only weigh like 130 pounds. I was about 7 feet or more from it, maybe even like 10 feet from it, so I couldn't have done it myself. And it happened right as I came to the tent, like right as I came to it, it started singing. So I was dead in my tracks, terrified. I froze. I didn't know what to do because I was so scared. Luckily, the light switch was literally an arm's reach away, so I went, turned the light on, didn't want to go in the tent, went in the tent anyways, got the stuffy out, and had to, same thing as a toothbrush situation, I had to open the back and actually turn the thing off because the little button on the hand that it's only supposed to go off once, it was going off on repeat again and again and again. And it's creepy to hear hoo hoo hee, 1, 2, 3. And again, this is a scene from the movie The Conjuring. There's a part, or The Conjuring #2, where there's a kid's tent and something's inside it. I can't remember what happened, but there was a tent, so I don't want you to think that I stole this from that movie either. I should have done this story time before this freaking movie came out, because then I wouldn't have to defend myself. So that was the last occurrence ever. I had a friend on the team who was a Reiki master or a Reiki or something. And so she was very spiritual, and she offered to come cleanse the house. She agreed that something was going on in the home and she wanted to come cleanse it, but I was like, no, I do not want to make anyone mad. Just leave it alone. Hopefully nothing else happens. And thank God nothing else happened, or so I thought. So this is in 2014. Fast forward to like a month ago when I first saw, which is what made me want to do this video in the first place, I watched The Conjuring #2 with my husband, and I was really curious. It's supposed to be a true story, and I was really curious as to like what was real in the story, what wasn't real, and I wanted to see if there was like any evidence and stuff online, because I'm kind of interested in this stuff. So I was looking it up, and I was looking at the actual case files and like the things that happened, or they said happened in the house in England. And there was one thing that wasn't in the movie that was in the case files, was that there was always these unexplained puddles of water around the house that were totally random, that weren't spills. There was no pipes or anything. There was no faucets or bathtubs or anything to create a puddle of water. And apparently the puddle of water had like a particular aroma to it. So when I read that, I was like, oh, holy fuck. That just solidifies everything. So I googled more about like spirits and water and puddles. So if you have a poltergeist or a haunting or something, it's apparently very common to have like a random pool of water come here and there in the house that's unexplained. And I didn't know this at the time, but when we lived there, we had twice a giant puddle of water like this big. So what is this, like 3 feet in our bathroom, which you're like, it's a bathroom. Okay, but we hadn't had a shower. We hadn't had a bath. It was nowhere near the sink where we brushed our teeth. It wasn't near like the pipes or anything. We had a very big bathroom, and it was in the middle of the bathroom, and it was like that big and thick. Like it wasn't just like a little bit. It was like a thick puddle of water. And I was like, what the is this? Like, where did this come from? Annie, did you spill a cup? But it was too much water for it to be from my daughter's sippy cup. So my husband didn't know where it came from. He was home at this point. So I touched it, and I didn't taste it, thank God. And I smelled it, and it smelled like, this is gonna sound so rude. I don't mean it to sound rude at all, but it smelled like a very, very elderly person. You know how their skin has a certain scent to it? It smelled like that. So it didn't smell like putrid, but didn't smell nice. And I was like, what the hell is this? Like, it's not dog pee. Like, I know what dog pee looks like. It was clear. It was a clear liquid. And then like a week later, same thing, but it was in the, like in between the living room and the dining room where my daughter's tent was. It was just kind of in that area, and it was a smaller one. It's about this big, but same thing. Smelt like old person, for lack of a better explanation. So I didn't think anything of it. I actually thought maybe it was my dog's anal glands that had burst. And I took him to the vet when I got home into Canada, and they popped his anal glands for me because I told them, I think, maybe my dog's anal glands burst. Can you check it out? And they checked it out, and they were full. So if they burst, they wouldn't be so full at the point that I got him checked out. And they popped it, and it smelled like poo, like awful, like had to leave the room. This aroma filled the whole room with poo. So it was not my dog's ass that created these puddles. It was, now that I know, it was something a little more spooky. So that is the last thing that happened. Since then, nothing else has happened. I'm still super nervous about being in places. I'm nervous about my home back in Canada. It's a brand new house. We built it. And, you think that it would be perfectly safe, but I don't know what happened on that land like 300 years ago. So something could have happened. They could be haunted. I don't know. So when my husband's not home, I do not like to go downstairs. I leave the lights on at night. Everywhere, waste electricity. I'm sorry for not being green. And yeah, I'm terrified of everything. I am not scared in our house in Germany. I'm actually pretty comfortable here, which you think I wouldn't be because it's a lot older city. It's a lot older of a building and everything, but I'm actually pretty good in this place, so that's nice. So that is my paranormal haunting. I would love to hear if you guys have had any similar situations or any stories that you think might have been a haunting or something that really creeped you out. I would love if you could leave it in the comments below because I'm super interested in this kind of stuff. I get freaked the fuck out, but I can't help myself. It's like a roller coaster. So if you guys have any stories, please leave them in the comments below and make sure to subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you next time. Bye guys.